Almost 5 years of innovation and a decade of cultural mind shift packed into just 3 months of time. If we were to try and encapsulate the progress of tech during the 2020 pandemic crisis, this is one of the more striking ones. This is backed by one other thing, and that's the adoption of data. Now, more than ever, this has placed enterprises in a challenging space. Now, about the greater adoption of data, innovation is now demanded. There's a need to produce innovation on demand. And companies are adopting and identifying newer ways to be agile just so that they can progress at the same pace that they did before. Hello and good afternoon. My name is Ashwin Raghunath, and I'd like to welcome you to the Enterprise Innovation Summit 2020. Over the past few years, the Dynamic CIO Enterprise Innovation Summit has chosen areas of focus that have organically grown in the enterprise ecosystem. And our seminars across the country have highlighted thought leaders, their ideas, and helped hundreds of companies in channeling their thinking. This year, our objective remains the same. We are coming to you with an extensive roster of speakers who are beating a new path of growth and sharing that expertise with you to help you do the same. Now, to set the tone for the next few days and for today's sessions, join me in welcoming Rahul Neil Mani, our editor here at Dynamic CIO. Rahul, over to you.
A very good afternoon to all of you, and a very warm welcome to this 3-day Enterprise Innovation Summit, starting from today and ending on 28th of August. I hope you are doing better and having good time with your families, staying safe. Like everyone else, I also know the times are tough. It is testing and also very challenging for all of us. But humans have an extraordinary capability to resurrect stronger and emerge from the lowest points. History is full of such examples. We will overcome this one as well. Let's focus on what we are supposed to do, and the rest all will fall in place later or sooner. When the COVID-19 broke out, little did we know that it will ask for such a degree of patience and restraint. The otherwise 3-city summit that we have been planning had to be converted into a 3-day virtual summit. Since chance and adaptation to the situation are two big game changers, we also changed the nature of the conference. Instead of one theme, we prepared the content on 3 different themes, one for each day. Themes are unique, they are relevant, they are useful, and so is the content. So the day 1 theme is embracing the new normal, the day 2 would be digital to the core, and the day 3 will be reimagining cybersecurity. I would like to thank our sponsor partners, Yota Infrastructure, F5 Networks, NTT Data, Beam Software, Dell Technologies, Quest, and Fortinet for their invaluable support to make this virtual conference happen. Also, I would like to thank Koyas Age, our research partner. You will see the unveiling of the research across the first 2 days of this summit. Now, before you go into the conference, or before I invite you to be part of this conference, let me set the tone for the day so that you can relate to our thought process, the relevance of the contents, and the choice of topics and the speakers. So, as you see on the screen, here's a very famous quote by Professor Klaus Schwab, whom I think everybody knows. He's the founder and executive chairman of World Economic Forum. The pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. So in this quote, just stay with the word called reset. So reset is imminent. To embrace the new normal, which isn't new anymore, we have to generate new ideas. We have to bring forth ideas that have the capability to catalyze the great reset after COVID-19, because that's how we will be able to fill the great vacuum which is created in the world of business. While there are many cliched statements made regarding the change, the starting point has to be none other than and as simple as adjusting our mindsets. A great connection, a continuous collaboration, and consistent effort between leaders and the people will bring about this change, which will help us sail through. I am reminded of a very apt quote by Henry Ford here. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right in both the situations. work towards that change and see that it happens. Moving on to my next slide, which is another very interesting slide by another very interesting author, John Doerr. John Doerr is a venture capitalist, and he says we must realize and act on the realization that if we try to focus on everything, we are actually focusing on nothing. And if I can elaborate a little bit on that. So John Doerr is also author of a book, Measure What Matters. And that's the crux of this particular slide. As he very rightly said, it is not the time to focus on everything. It is the time to focus on specifics. It is the time to focus on the extraordinary. It is the time to move beyond quick fixes. If we call it the new normal or the next normal, we have to reset and set new goals for ourselves. We have to work, as John states in his book, on the OKR philosophy, which means objectives and key responsibilities. This is not a new phenomenon. He pioneered this at Intel in 1970s as a management methodology that aligns team and individual goals with a company's strategic plan. That's what is required to embrace the new normal and win in the new normal. It's an old adage. What gets measured gets managed. When we are talking about a reset, we need to really take this lesson firmly and begin to look the transformation by refocusing what really matters. I'll move on to my last slide of this introduction. Keep the connections vibrant and not elusive. It's very important in today's day when we are all working virtually. We haven't seen each other for a very long time. So human connections are deeply nurtured in the field of shared story. A quote by a very famous author, Jean Houston, and how it pans out. Connections are very important. The consequence of a perpetual distance between leaders and the people can be very fatal, and in some cases we are witnessing it. You'll be surprised to know that in 1914, on the Christmas day, there was a truce declared at the World War I, which was going on at that time. Over 100,000 troops laid down their arms on the front line to play football, share stories, share photographs, have food and drinks together. In some places, this lasted a number of weeks. It could easily have been, I'm repeating, it could have easily been escalated to a full-scale peace, as most soldiers were very reluctant to pick up their arms once again. That's the beauty of connections. No doubt, the digital technologies of today have given us a lifeline during the lockdown, but in a way, they have also provided an illusion of connection. Anonymity provides a cover to us to disguise in the comfort of our own little bubbles. Since many organizations are deciding to make it a primary way of working, we have to find ways for the technology to harmonize, help us make deeper, more meaningful connections with each other. This is probably the most important building block of the reset when we are talking about in the new normal. With these words, I heartily welcome all of you once again for these 3 days, 3 very interactive, meaningful, and fruitful days, and hope you will enjoy this 3-day summit of conversations, connections, and contents. Thank you.